Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing good out there. Thank you for choosing my video to chill out to. Once again, we are heading into the deep dark realms of Reddit. These are meant to be true stories, believe them if you wish, my friends. I think it's time we should actually head into the stories now, isn't it? I shall see you on the other side. Help me, I'm lost. This is my first post and it is a true story. I was living in rural area in Oklahoma with my mother at a small lake house, and I'm probably 10 or 11 at the time. One night I was sleeping in my room when I randomly and abruptly wake up for no reason. This was not normal for me and I felt very uneasy. The only sound I could hear was my mother snoring in the next room on the couch. I rolled over and tried to get back to sleep, but my need to use the bathroom was growing more urgent, so I grudgingly forced myself to head that way. The bathroom was on the other side of the house, around a corner and past the kitchen, and finally down a long hallway on the right. So after I made the trip, I finished my business. I flipped off the light switch and started heading back to bed. That's when I heard the distinct click of the light switch, and I saw the glow of the bathroom light in the hallway. Terrified, I slowly turned around just to witness the light in the bathroom starting to click on and off. Click, 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 click. Finally, it shut completely off. In the dark of the hallway, my eyes began to make out a white shape near the end of the hall. It was around my sides and crouched to the floor. At this point, I'm frozen to the spot as my mind begins to realise that no one else is home except for my mum and myself. Then the white shape began whispering in a quiet man's voice, "Help me, I'm lost." I remember wanting to scream for my mom, but I couldn't. Instead, I barely said "no" before this thing starts running at me on what sounds like all fours. I quickly ran through the kitchen and around the corner before running to my sleeping mother, shaking her awake. I remember saying, it's coming, and my mother's eyes going from dazed to alert in an instant. She asked me what was going on, and I saw her eyes look over my shoulder before she screamed. Remembering her scream still makes my blood run cold. Never have I heard pure terror like that in my life, even to this day. She grabs me by my arms and pulls me into my room and slams the door. She holds me in her arms and her back pressed against the door as we listen. It sounded like this thing was running round circles in the kitchen. We could hear hands and feet slapping against the tile. The kitchen had a sliding glass door to the outside, which sounded like it was thrown open, then slammed. We sat there horrified until daybreak. I was sent to my grandmother's in the next town for a while after that and never set foot in that house again. Years later, my mother said she was walking around the property after the incident and came across a small burial site with 3 headstones that each belonged to children from the early 1900s. It freaks me out because what I heard that night was a man's voice, but it was so unnatural. My mom still will not tell me what she saw behind me and what it was that made her scream. She tells me she's afraid it will know we are talking about it and will come back. This is the first of many weird things that have happened in my life.
Thank you for the great support, I really do appreciate it. If you are enjoying what I'm doing, why not think about subscribing to my channel? It is free and would help me a great deal.
Home alone with my old dog. Although it doesn't seem like it, this happened quite a while back, probably over 10 years ago. I was in the later years of high school and was home alone. My parents were at a wedding that required them to stay at a hotel, and my brother worked the night shift. At that time, my family lived in a very well-known East Coast city in a blue-collar neighbourhood that was starting to take a nosedive. As a teenager, I was a bit of a loner. I wasn't a nerd or anything. I was a big dude who had friends and went on dates, but I am naturally introvert, so I cherished the rare alone time that I got. This weekend I was looking forward to engaging in my normal empty house routine, playing some PlayStation on the big screen TV, then ordering a late takeout dinner, pizza or Chinese, and a pig out while watching some Dragon Ball Z. Then around 2 AM, fall asleep on the couch with my old dog Cecil. Cecil was a beagle who was as old as the hills. and had been in our family for about 8 years. He was quiet and peaceful and spent his time begging for food and sleeping. Unlike most beagles, Cecil never howled or barked. He was more than content to rest his head on your lap and spend the night there. Anyway, back to the story. It's approximately 1 AM and I just finished the last slice of pizza and was dozing off on the couch when I hear a bang coming from the back alleyway. I didn't think much of it. Anyone who has lived in a city knows noises happen at all moments of the night. Cecil's head popped up off my lap and the hair on his back stood up. He was always a bit skittish, so I calmed him down and started dozing off again. Not more than 2 minutes later I heard another bang and Cecil did something I never seen him do before. He leapt off the couch and ran like the wind towards the door leading to the basement, barking and growling like a dog twice his size. The look on his face reminded me of a German Shepherd K9 unit. I'd never seen him do this before, which got my adrenaline pumping. Through the dog's barking, I can now make out a persistent banging. There was a seldom used door in the basement that led to our back alleyway. It was old and rusted and was hard to open, even with a key, and it made a lot of noise. I suddenly realised that someone was trying to break into my house through my basement door. Quick little bit of context for anyone who hasn't lived in a bad neighbourhood. If anyone tries to get into your house and moves on after they realise the door is locked, they want your stuff. If someone is persistently trying to get into your house despite the door being locked, well, they want you. Knowing this, I rush upstairs to grab my heavy wood baseball bat that I keep under my bed for situations like this. Then I head down my basement. I probably should have ran out, but I was a macho teenager with a tough guy complex, and plus I had nowhere to go. While I'm heading down the stairs to my basement, Cecil blows past me in the speed and aggression of a dog half his age. Suddenly I hear a man's voice say, "Oh fuck!" and the banging stopped. I didn't call the cops or anyone else, which was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. I just sat up for the rest of the night with a bat in hand. My brother came home that morning and told him what had happened. We went to the basement door to look, and when we gave it a tug to open it, the whole door fell off. This psycho was one good shove away from getting in my house, but old Cecil scared him off. I'm pretty sure that lazy fat old dog saved my life. When I tell the story to people, they dismiss his actions as a dog doing what a dog was supposed to do. But when I tell you Cecil never barked or moved that fast in his life, you can take that to the bank. It was almost like he knew the urgency, like he knew the door was going to give. A few years back, we had to have him put down, because he just had no will to live anymore. Before the injection, I got a moment alone with him. I thanked him one last time for his friendship and for what he did that night. At this point, I was a grown man with a wife and kids. I'm convinced none of that would have happened without old Cecil. Thanks, pal. I miss you. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having fun out there. Are you enjoying these stories so far? I hope so. If you are enjoying it, why not think about giving me a wee subscribe, my friends? That would help me out a great deal, and I'll bring you such more great content. Or try to bring you great content. Anyway, I think we should get back onto the stories, shouldn't we, my friends? Yes, we should. I'll be back. My son did something weird. My son fell asleep on the couch around noon, and I thought, perfect, I'll go for a nap too. About an hour or so later, I woke up to him crying. This in itself is pretty unusual since he's a very happy little boy, but I comforted him, and he clung to me like he never wanted to let me go. After about 10 or 15 minutes, I untangled myself and turned on Donald Duck for him to watch. He was very happy and snuggly, like usual, and some time went by. I was laying on the couch with him, just reading stories about possessions on Reddit, when he gets up. He walked towards the kitchen through the hallway, when he suddenly stops. Turns around and looks at me, eyes locked. He slides one finger across his throat in the very well-known gesture. He doesn't make a sound, nor does he have any expression on his face. A few seconds pass and he turns around and walks into the kitchen. About 30 seconds later, he comes walking into the living room and seems to be his happy self again. A couple of days ago, his mother was watching him here. She wrote me on Messenger that a door opened by itself and she felt something or someone touch her. I definitely believe her. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here, but I ignore it to the extent that it almost becomes ridiculous. I have many spooky stories to tell, but this actually freaked me out enough to acknowledge it. He's just 3 years old. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed the video, why don't think about giving me a little subscribe on YouTube? I would appreciate that very much. Until next time, I will see you later.